Hello, I'm Christina Malaquias, and it's a pleasure to be here recording this video. I'll be discussing the article From Documentary Languages to Knowledge Organization Systems, which I co-authored with Francisco Paleta. We are both affiliated with the University of São Paulo in Brazil. The next slide provides an overview of the article. And the purpose of having descriptive slides like this is to allow people to pause the video and read the content if they so wish. This article is an exploratory study of the types of KO systems and their functions, similarities, and differences between them. It also addresses semantic relationships between concepts and the impact that certain choices in knowledge organization can have on the user experience. The article justifies why the term knowledge organization system is broader than documentary language. So let's proceed and examine the step-by-step process that led to this conclusion. Documentary languages are standardized systems of symbols designed to enable user-system communication. How? By establishing a common ground with a mediation function between them. In other words, natural language undergoes a transformation into documentary language. This transformation or indexing process occurs through the reduction or neutralization of redundancy, ambiguity, polysemy, and particular variations. The documentary language operates on two axes, the paradigmatic, considering semantics, and the syntagmatic, considering syntax. Consequently, to fulfill its mediation function, documentary language employs a controlled vocabulary with terms corresponding to specific concepts. The intertwined line in the figure depicts the idea of interconnected concepts. The concept doesn't exist in isolation, but rather in relation to others. Moreover, the systematic organization lives in a particular domain. Over time, there has been a shift from attempting to encompass the entire universe of knowledge to instead identifying a specific and delimited domain, a snapshot, a cutout of reality. The monopoly of universal and pasteurized classifications has been abandoned in favor of pinpointing the notional system that proves useful within that domain. We cite examples of synonymous terms for documentary languages and draw attention to the fact that for the most part, these terms refer to the knowledge or to the notion of language, which has been replaced by the metaphor of system, considered more appropriate by the KOSs community. But there is another term to be understood in its relation to documentary language, which is knowledge organization system. Knowledge organization systems are mechanisms for organizing information aiming to promote knowledge management. So we present a comparative study between KO systems and documentary languages, considering the dimensions of propagation, context, structure, and typology. The study highlighted that KO systems, besides covering physical organization, like documentary languages, also extend their focus to digital environments. Therefore, it was concluded that KO system is a broader term compared to DL. The types of KO systems were grouped by function on the x-axis and structure on the y-axis in Zeng's figure, which in turn was based on Hodge's work. Concerning structure, this KO progresses from one dimension to n dimensions, moving from bottom to top. Term list groups such as rings leading to relationship models group, including thesauri and ontologies. We added folksonymies into the graph based on the Encyclopedia of Knowledge organization. It is important to note that folk synonyms do not utilize a documentary language, but instead they rely on natural language provided by users. While the article delves into each of these types, time constraints prevent us from doing so in this presentation. So I encourage you to read the full article for a comprehensive understanding. At the bottom, we observe the functions and intensity within KOs systems. So the function of controlling synonyms, for example, is particularly pronounced in synonym rings and also in thesaurus. The presenting properties function is only available in ontologies and semantic networks, the only two that cover the full spectrum of functions. Okay, so digging into semantic relations, how can we not mention Ranganathan's faceted classification theory? Classifying grouping elements into classes based on a purpose and a perspective, utilizing specific characteristics to compare similarities and differences. Classifications should be adjusted in response to shifts, whether in time, space, etc. In other words, it's crucial to recognize that classifications are by no means permanent. In a hierarchical network, each node has a single parent, while in a relational network, there are instances of subordination. And the hierarchy is determined by the path that the user chooses to follow. We have an example of each here. So hierarchical network in a classroom context, animals can be classified as vertebrates or invertebrates, for example. In a relational network, in a butchery context, animals are meats and they can be beef, pork, poultry, or fish. A user interested in salami, pork salami, for example, can navigate through meats or through processed meats. Facets are like faces of a diamond, denoting classes, categories, characteristics, criteria, aspects, components, filters. That is the nodes of the network. The tree on the left typically represents hierarchical structure, but if there are grafted branches in Ranganathan's terms, it becomes relational. We briefly discussed Dalhberg's concept theory in the article. KOs systems are systems of concepts, and the concept is the most elementary unit of knowledge. Representation levels can be 4, so properties, concept, combination of concepts, and system. System being KOs system. In the example, we have the class vessel with the types maritime and aerial without exhausting the possibilities. And an example of the part-whole relationship, the components of a ship, not exhausted because the KO system does not need to contain everything, of course. It is a snapshot or cut out of reality. In examining the impact of knowledge organization choices on user experience, we find that synonym rings enhance searches, providing users with an abundance of options and increasing the likelihood of finding desired information. Authoritative files teach and simultaneously reinforce preferred terms, facilitating communication. Cursori contributes to a more flexible navigation experience. Ontologies allow computers, in addition to humans, to manipulate meanings, thereby expanding the volume of correlations and opening up the new horizons for users. To wrap up, I offer a visual aid, a mind map that encapsulates the fundamentals of this article. So images prove especially beneficial when using Number. So question, what key points do you remember from the presentation? So feel free to pause the video and test your recall now based on the figures. Okay, from left to right, we see here the letter soup figure. So common ground for user-system communication. Intertwined figure concepts exist in their relation to one another in a specific domain. More of the same figure, multiple terms for documentary languages. Moving to the middle here, the knowledge organization systems analyzed under the light of two theories, the tree figure representing the Faceted classification theory, instance of the hierarchy in knowledge organization systems, and the network figure here representing the concept theory. Knowledge organization systems are systems of concepts. So moving to the right, the potential to enhance user experience. So additionally, we pose a set of initial questions intended to start guiding the development of a knowledge organization system. So which classes should be employed within the specific domain, with what level of granularity, which semantic relationships hold the most utility for the intended purpose, and how does the contextual backdrop influence in the model, and so forth. Okay, so here I conclude this brief presentation, inviting you to read the full article. Thank you for the opportunity, and see you next time.